Good evening. Hey, Bikini. How are you today? Hey, JB. How are both of you doing today? I didn't do much of anything today. Haven't felt the best. I got woke up last night. I don't know, a little before 2:30. Had enough pain in my chest. I assumed it was gallbladder attack that I've had before, because it hurts right here in the center of my chest and clear through into my back. But usually after a couple hours it goes away, then I'm fine. But it kept me up practically all night. I just dozed on and off because it hurt even to lay down. It still hurts. I was told I should have went to the doctor today, find out for sure what it was. But I'm stubborn on that. Don't do it. I just debate whether did I just have another gallbladder attack that affected me different than normal, or did I actually have a heart attack? I've never had one that made me sore clear through, to the next night. It must be full of something. I need to get back out and be doing more stuff than what I'm doing. Hey, Monroe, so I can get rid of this belly that I'm accumulating. There's a combination of not keeping myself, active, doing what I normally do outside, and just sitting around snacking because I'm bored. I'm putting on weight a little. My cholesterol's up because of it. Thanks, sir. How are things in North Carolina tonight, Monroe? The numbers and stuff keep messing up on YouTube. It just shows there's nobody here. It was a nice day here today. I don't remember what the temperature got up to. It's still 72 here now. But let me look and see. Don't remember which night it is. Yeah, they've changed it. Saturday night, the low was supposed to be 50. They had it down in the 40s before. So 50 is a little better. My last 5 short videos that I did yesterday there on the septic install. A little while ago I looked at them and it showed all the way across the board. Every one of them had 20 views. Looked at it again in a couple minutes and some of them had 8, some had 10. YouTube can't decide what they want to do with the stuff. Yeah, I would like to go back. But like I said before, my big problem is what do I do with my kitties? I don't have anybody to take care of them. I had said a long time ago that when I had my previous cats that I had, when I had the last one put down because he had so many medical problems. Sound is going in and out. I don't know what's causing that. But when I had that last kitty put down, I said I wasn't going to get any more because they tie me down. Makes it hard for me to do stuff. And then I turn around and the one that's in the house here, Fluffy, she showed up and skinny as a rail, and I started feeding her, and now she's an inside cat with me. I try to read my lips. And then I got a couple more outside, and which then had more little ones, and now I got a bunch of them. I've been debating again. I started, was going to do that a long time ago, and then didn't do it, and then got attached to them, and so didn't try to. But considering taking some of them, there's a place, maybe 35 miles from here, that they take in cats and whatnot to adopt them out. Maybe I see about taking some of them over there and get rid of them that way. It's just the hassle of having to keep up with taking care of them all the time. Plus, it's an expense. Well, I've got 14 of them now that I'm feeding. Every time I turn around, I'm ordering another $70 or $80 online from that company, Chewy Cat Supplies. Shows there's 4 in the house now. Everybody got quiet. Is my sound still in and out, or is it working okay now? Now I'm not getting anything from anybody. This is strange. Or maybe I should end this one and start a new one and see if it works better. Still shows there's 3 people here. Now there's 2. Now there's 1. Now there's 2. Yeah. He's still here. What's going on the farm today, JB? Hey, Josh. I don't know where everybody's at tonight. There's a lot of other lives going on right now, JB. Could be part of it. Yeah, because I mean, I'm guessing that I lost McKinney. Amore hadn't showed up tonight. Who else usually is here? Sometimes Ruby and Frank pop in. And Rena and Mike, but I think Rena's still in town. She was going to the dentist or something. You know why Jay was doing it live? I never got no. And Maureen and Ken, well, Maureen's still, she's with Maureen or with Rena in town. Well, I haven't done as many of them as you have, JB. So I mean, it's different for me, and gives me a chance to sit and talk to a lot of people. I don't have to type, you know, like you said before. I need to sit down sometime and figure out how to use StreamYard where I can bring a couple people up on the channel. Not sure how to pronounce your name, so is it Kluish Joe channel? How are you doing this evening? I know you were in at my last live there briefly. Yeah, but JB, some of yours too, you know, well, it wasn't live. Or was it? I watched it later if it was. Well, that's what I was just saying, JB. I need to learn how to do that, you know, how to start it so I can use it. And I forget about it every time I come on because there's a couple different people that ask about it. I think Amore's one that asks the most about it. She's always camera shy to get on, you know, doing live of her own. But I think she would come on, you know, if somebody else will do it. Josh, you getting any snow tonight? It's 72 down here. Go to Google or Chrome. Okay, I'm using Chrome right now. Type in StreamYard, try your free trial. Okay. What do you have to do to connect that to YouTube so that they come up together? Or does it work automatic? Raining there? Well, that's good if you don't get around getting cold weather and have it freeze. It'll make a mess of the roads if it does. I don't know if you were here or not, JB. The other night, Angie even popped in on my live for a few minutes. She didn't stay long. She just said she was passing through, but she came in and said hi. That's the first I've heard from her since you left Hong Kong. Hey, IJ. It'll tell me what to do. Okay. Well, I can probably figure that out then if it tells me what to do on as I'm doing it. Because if it's not connected to YouTube, I'm assuming nobody would even know I'm doing it if I'm using StreamYard. Hey, John Q. How are you doing today? Yeah, I always like to hear from her. You know, she gets a little wild at times, but I still think she's a good kid. I was surprised when she came in, but I was glad to see her. JB, do you know who Brooks and Pebbles is? They're not people from the Flintstones cartoons. You are correct, JB. That's her second channel. Well, that's not good, John. Get yourself in trouble doing that stuff. Plus, then you just feel bad the next day. Yeah, she don't use it much, but once in a while she'll pop in with that instead of her regular one. Yeah. I've got a couple that have blocked me, but one of them was a that I used to go to all the time, and they were always asking me, you know, information on the stuff. They were new at trucking, and then as time went on, they got where they thought they knew everything and didn't like me telling them where they were making mistakes, so they blocked me on it. Another one that blocked me on hers is a Filipina. She lives in the U.S. She's married to, I don't remember where he's from now, but a Hispanic. And when I first met her, she was doing halfway good with the English, but her English has gotten less and less and stuff on her live streams. And I used to get onto her all the time about it, and she got mad and blocked me on hers. But she still shows up in my lives once in a while. Yeah, I was on one of them here a while back, John, that you were on that way, and you ended up going to sleep on the panel even. Married but separated for a long time. Okay. Well, that's what I said. I heard her talking, or saw her. She was typing, but she was saying there that I think she said I don't remember exactly now. I'm going to guess like 46 or something. And then she just said her husband is 63 or 65, or I don't remember. Well, you're not the only one that I've heard. I saw you do it that night, but you're not the only one I've heard that some different ones would be on the panel like that, and then they'd go to sleep. There's been a couple of them. It was their own live stream they were running, and they went to sleep during it. So just the others that were on it kept it going. The host went to sleep. I've never done it when I've been on the panel like that, because then you're talking and whatnot. But I have fallen asleep sitting at a live stream where I'm just sitting here typing. I've done that different times. You don't sit there and fall asleep, and a long time later I'll wake up and the live's still going on. Yeah, that's what I say. I've seen people talking about where the host fell asleep on cam. But then the other one is I've done that like that and fall asleep and wake up later, and the live stream's already over with and everybody's gone. Yeah, JB, I agree with you. There's a lot of stuff that gets brought out on YouTube that sometimes shouldn't be. Yeah, but JB, you run some long hours. You start early in the morning and you go late at night. Plus, you're out running morning and night and working during the day. It'd be hard to keep up with your schedule. Tinkerbell's done a couple different lives lately, late at night for her. She couldn't sleep, and she'll sit there talking, and then she starts mixing up what she's saying. You can tell she's just tired, losing her train of thought. But she says she's can't go to sleep. It's just tonight. Well, that is true, and I say that part of my problem because I spend too many late nights on here just trying to talk with people that's example, in the Philippines or whatever, where our time span's different, makes it where I'm up too late many nights. Then I don't want to get up in the morning, but I need to get up and do stuff. People don't realize it, but just lack of sleep is hard on you. And then there's some of them that say, well, they've been 3 days and haven't had sleep. They're just staying on YouTube. Well, they're younger. They're able to get away with it right now, but it'll catch up with them in time. I don't quite get that, Jamie. So when are you going to retire? Sitting in front of your computer just to talk with me? Well, that's kind of what I've done. John, I don't mind people doing it once in a while, but there's a few of them that'll turn around and every 15 seconds want to drop their link. And then there's a few of them like JB that you tell her to drop it. That's just like when some of the girls do these premieres. You try to sit and talk to them about what's going on in the video, but you got a select group that come in there and they're just plastering it full of the emojis, and they'll drop 3 or 4 links in a minute's time. And it just keeps it where the rest of us can't even, talk. Well, the other one, John, that always get going with that same thing, Penis Habit. I always call her PH, so they have Saran put on their PH and HP. Go ahead and drop your link, John. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Amor and I got into argument over that a long time back, and she got mad at me over it. But since then, she's kind of cleaned her chat up that way. She don't let the people do it, and people have fun there. Bikini's having that same problem with hers now. They'll just fill that with emojis and stuff. Well, you better hurry up and do it before I take the blue away from you again. I kind of hate them anytime, JB. I mean, if you want to add a smiley face once in a while or something like that, that's fine. But when they figure they have to put up 30 or 40 of them in a comment, and half of them you don't even know what they mean, so it's of no value. And some of them that they use, they don't know what they mean, but they're just going through picking them out and using them because they think they look cool. Like the heart shape with a cross in it. That's something to do with you're a nurse or whatever like that. Well, why do you want to put up 6 of those saying that somebody's a nurse? I agree. I mean, if you're using, like I say, if you're using a smiley face because, it went with the comment or whatever like that, that's fine. But some of them they're just comment after comment with nothing but emojis. They don't even say anything. There's another girl, she's in the US, and that's what she does. She'll just continually post emojis. And I've said stuff about that with her, and there's been a few channels, that she's been kicked out of, and she said, "Well, I'm moderator on over 200 channels. Everybody likes that." Yeah, that's true, IJ. I think they do it more for the recognition of themselves than to help the channels they're on. They figure that way everybody sees their name and will go and sub to them or whatever. And those are the people I don't go to. Same thing like the ones that come in and well 15 times, ask you to go to their premiere, ask you to go to their video or whatever. I mean, I look at it, I can look at, somebody's channel and decide if I want to go there or not. I don't have to have them tell me 6 times. I was looking at my stuff on my channel the other day, and I think out of my viewers, I don't remember now, 42 or 46 or something like that percent are from the Philippines. Hey, Smokums. Haven't seen you in a while. That's true, IJ. Yeah, and the same thing, JB, with people turn around and tell you, well, they sub to you and want you to sub back to them and stuff. Well, some of them I will, but some of them I won't. I mean, if it's a channel that's just strictly 100% gaming, I have no interest in that. Most of the games they play, I don't understand anyways. I'm not going to go sit and watch that. It's no benefit to me. And then people get upset, well, you didn't come to my premiere last night or you didn't come to my live stream. Well, I'm subbed to over 600 people. I can't go to all of them. There's just not enough hours in the day. I never have either, John. I've been thinking about it lately just to do one sometime because I didn't think that, you make enough watch hours out of it to make it beneficial to waste the time of doing it. But I thought about just doing one sometime and let it sit just to see what kind of watch hours it does actually get. But there's so many people do them thinking they're really building their watch hours up. Maybe they are. I don't know. I clicked on one the other day that came up as one of my recommended ones or whatever you want to call it, and it happened to have been silent live stream that was on earlier, and just I clicked ahead, a few times just checking it, and there was never anybody in the chat the time it ran. Yeah, I've seen a few of them set the thing in front of a fish tank or whatever, just so there's something on it. I don't have nothing like that either. There's one there, one I was telling you there, that she blocked me on hers because I got onto her about her lack of using English, and she's in America, so why not? But she did a lot of live streams that way, and the camera was always set facing a picture, I think, of her and her husband. I mean, so you got to watch, an all night live stream, silent live stream of just that picture. I've seen a couple of them though that's doing it with the fish tanks. And one of them, we used to tease the person about it that we thought the fish were dead because they weren't even moving. Oh, IJ, that's what I was telling you the other day. You had one person there that was kept making comments, the emojis or whatever. I don't remember what it was, but it showed three different names, and it would just do them, and a while later it would do all three of them names again. And it was just one person doing it with three channels, and one of the channels that didn't have any content or nothing even on it. No subs, no videos, nothing. Well, I agree with you, Smokums. I've always said, majority of the people, put a lot of work and effort into building their channel, and then the others want to do it the quick way. Yeah. And then the ones in the chat, all they're doing is dropping emoji. Yeah. Well, that's why I said, IJ, I was debating about doing stream, whether I just do it and let it run all night or whatever, just out of curiosity. So when I got done with it, look and see, did it give me any watch hours, or did I just waste a bunch of time having the computer on? I didn't think that it was worthwhile, but I don't have proof on it because I've never tried it. Yeah, that's true, JB, because the watch hours depends on how long they are there. And biggest share of the people, even if when you do a live, when you look at the stats on it after you stop, it'll tell you that the average watch time was only 12 minutes or whatever for most people. That's all the longer they stay. You get your group of friends that'll stay the whole thing, and you guys talk back and forth. But the other 50 that was there were there 8, 10, 12 minutes, and they were gone. I did used to with my videos, didn't hardly answer any of the comments that people made. I always read them all, but most of them I didn't answer, whatever. I've got the point now. I try to go back in and try to answer every comment that anybody makes. Sometimes the comments aren't, something that there's much of anything you can answer. I mean, occasionally I get, a comment that the only thing in it's emojis. Too, IJ. On Everything Nature, good evening. Or is it morning for you? Well, that's what I always tell people too. And I've always joked with them, I give them 17 thumbs down so they know I was there. And then you'll get a few that'll get so mad. Why would anybody give this live stream thumbs down? They're good people. They're doing blah, blah, blah. Well, thumbs up, thumbs down, don't matter. They count the same. You're in Houston. Okay, so it is evening. It would be 8:50 p.m. there. Is that the one we got the package from Deb, or I know she sent him something, but I never did hear what she got him. Yeah, I agree, Smokins. I mean, just like you get so many people that say, well, I'll be in the background. Well, if they're in the background, you don't even know they're there. I mean, there's occasions that I'll go to somebody's live, I talk with them for a little bit, I have something else to do, and I'll just go do it, whether I'm back outside with the cats or fixing supper or whatever, I just leave it on. If I'm in the house, I can still hear it. And then I pop in and out. I mean, so they're getting the watch hours out of me being there, but I try to join it when I can. There's so many that, as soon as you start the live, they come in, they go in the background, and they never say a word the whole live stream. So you don't even know who was there. IJ, there's not too much else in the U.S. that I can go to right now that's warm enough for me. I've been in Florida now for 39 years. I've been acclimated to that warm weather, and the cold bothers me. I'm in Central Florida, about 35 miles west of Daytona Beach. Well, like I said, IJ, I've just been here for so long that I've gotten used to the heat, where the summer heat don't bother me like somebody else that comes down here does. So when it gets cold, the cold seems colder to me. When it gets below 70, I'm cold. I took there I was working full time, and I was also doing a lot of lawn work. I did them with a rider for years. Went through a lot of repair parts and stuff on it because my machine's not built for what you're doing. I said, all summer long, does that mean I put 50 years using that mower? He says, basically. Yeah, that's true with Smokums. And the other thing is, don't sit there and look at the camera or look at yourself or whatever. Just all I do is I pay attention to the chat or try to, because I don't have nobody else on the panel, and just go with that. So it's more or less, that way I'm just being lazy. I don't have to type, and I can answer everything. Some people read every comment. I don't read any of them, aloud. Except once in a while I might do it just because I question what they're saying. I don't understand it. I need something, John. But that way, like I say, Aaron, I haven't seen you in a long time. In fact, I hadn't even seen you do any lives in a long time. But like I say, I don't pay attention to the camera, which self-conscious because you don't realize, when you're sitting in front of the camera like that, how many times you scratch your ear, rub your eyeball, or whatever. Or like me, I reach over and get my glass and take another drink of iced tea or what have you. And if you pay attention to the camera, then you become self-conscious of what you're doing. I took a public speaking class in high school. And then one time our instructor picked a group of us out of our class and we went to one of the local colleges where they had kids come in from all around the area from different high school stuff for that thing. And we broke up into groups and went off and had different discussions and whatnot, and then came back and they picked one person out of each group that you went up on stage with the podium and the microphone to talk to several hundred other students in the auditorium. I was the one that got up on the stage that way. And I was nervous as hell doing it when I first started, but got where I was going in front of a microphone. You shouldn't chew gum because they can hear it in the microphone. Yeah, I've been popping on here once in a while, Inez, trying to do lives, just to talk to people. I throw a few videos out once in a while. Like I said, I haven't seen you do any lives in quite a while. I kind of miss seeing you up there to talk to you. You always kept a good stream going. Yeah, you were saying they're in Tampa. Tampa is about 110 miles, I think, southwest of me. When I was doing auto transport, I used to pick up cars down in Tampa area once in a while, or St. Petersburg, either one. I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to people. I don't like to sit and talk on the phone. I mean, when I was at the truck stop, wherever I was spending the night at, I would call my sister. She was in Colorado Springs at the time, so that was 2 hours earlier than East Coast time. To her for a couple hours, but that way, wine, before I went to bed, whatnot, and plus, I was able to let her know where I was at, and I just did that kind of out of a habit, precaution, whatever, because I've heard of different drivers where their family, would lose track of them, didn't know where they were, and they have to, because they hadn't heard from them, and have to start putting out, word to different ones to find out what, because they'd had a heart attack or whatever during the night, passed away in their truck, and nobody knew about it. And they were still in their truck in a truck stop somewhere. So if I took every night and when I called and told her and let her know where I was at, if she didn't hear from me the next night, they only had to backtrack that far to see where I was at, if I'd been in an accident or was still at the truck stop or whatever, find out what happened to me. Yeah, well, see, John, I don't have video on my phone. I'm using a flip phone. So I mean, if you're doing video call, it's basically the same as being on here. I use Skype a lot and talk to people, cam to cam. There again, hey Nancy. That way again, you can sit there and talk and be lazy and don't have to type. What do you mean she don't look real happy? What part of Colorado, John? My sister was in Colorado Springs, but now she's over in Indiana. She moved over there a couple years ago. Yeah, see, I don't use Facebook or any of that. Everybody keeps telling me I should, but Boulder, okay. Okay, you take care too. Glad you stopped by. Yeah, when my sister was in Colorado Springs, she always liked it while she was out there because there's no humidity to speak of. They got snow, but it didn't last very long. And she said there was no bugs. She used to go into conniptions here because Florida has a lot of bugs. You go outside in the summertime, we have spells where the mosquitoes get bad. Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't like to live near a prison or whatever, but they've got them everywhere. I've got a friend here. He's one of the snowbirds. He's here in the winter and goes back to Vermont in the summer. And where he lives, he's up on a mountain. He says by road to go in town, it's quite a few miles. He says straight line, it's just a couple miles away. You just look down over the mountain. And he said right there at the bottom of the hill below him, he said there's the prison. But he's been down here now for the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years, spending winters here. I don't know whether I'll ever get him to stay here full time or not. He don't like the heat in the summer, but he don't like that cold up there in the winter anymore either. So, and it's hard to keep two places up. I mean, my mom and dad did that for years, after they retired. Because I'm originally from New York, and that's where I grew up at. And they had a house up there where they spent summers, and they came here and spent winters. In the house that I'm in now, this was theirs. And my house was only 3 blocks from here. After they passed, I bought this from the estate, and then I sold my house. Yeah, they have to have one heck of an electric lighting they have around the prison, between the lights inside and outside. I used to work at a county jail here for quite a while. We had 21 acres under roof. Yeah, well, John, at least Ottawa is. And the truckers had there for a while blockaded at all the border crossings into the U.S. Hey, Ken, are the girls still out running or they head back home yet? But they finally ended up having a court order to reopen the bridge there coming from Canada into Detroit. Oh, they went out to eat too. Is Rena serious about what she was talking about with her teeth? I didn't think she had any problems with hers, and I don't think she realizes the hassle of doing what she's talking. Yeah, I figured that, Josh, because it was in the news all the time that they had shut several plants down just because they couldn't transport materials. Oh, Marine's having a toothache. Well, that's different because in the live, Rena was saying she was having all of hers pulled and going to get false teeth. Yeah, if you got a toothache, that just messes up your whole day. The bad thing over there, Ken, is you just have to watch them, and push her. Can they fill it? Can they do something with it or whatever? Because most of the time, everybody in the Philippines, because it costs, they just say pull it. Instead of just filling a cavity. Did you? You ever watch? No, damn, I can't think of his name. No, his channel is a Brit in the Philippines. He's over there in Naga. His wife's name is Mel. Chris Wren. He's from the UK. When they first got together, he did an extensive a lot of dental work for her too. She had a lot of problems with her teeth. Yeah, and I've had people tell me too that you can have problems with the tooth, and it'll cause your leg to ache, or it'll cause your shoulder to ache, or whatever. Just the way your body interacts with each other. So I mean, your teeth, you kind of have to take care of them. Well, John, I got a couple across the road. Him and her both. Neither one have any teeth. They don't even have the false teeth. Yeah, it's hard to say what's going to happen before this is all over with the Smokums. I mean, so far everything's kept on a peaceful basis, but they keep pushing it somewhere. Somebody's going to lose it, and then there's going to be violence. Yeah, that's true there, John. Even childbirth is a lot cheaper over there than it is here. Sunfish for fish. How you doing this evening? I was told about your channel just a couple nights ago by one of your friends, and right now I can't think of his name. I think he said you're in Kansas. Oh, darn, I can't think of his channel now. Something with Peachtree. He's from Hawaii, and right now he's in Illinois. Yeah, there it is, Northwoods Peachtree. Yeah, I just met him the other day. It's okay, IJ. He's just doing trucks. I like trucks. Oh, he's got a couple tractors in there too. Oh, you're in Texas now? Okay. What part of Kansas were you in? He wasn't sure of that. Yep. In fact, I think I met him on your channel, didn't I, IJ? Because my dad's originally from Kansas. He was down in southeast Kansas, down around the Fort Scott area. Winfield, yeah. I still have relatives in Wichita, Belle Plaine, Olathe, Pratt, Fort Scott. There's a couple other small towns. Right now I'm blank on what the names of them are, but they're between Fort Scott and Kansas, or between Fort Scott and Wichita, but closer to Wichita. Yeah, I like the Kansas area. Only bad part is the tornadoes because it's flatland, but I like Kansas. That's true of smoking. I mean, how many times do you see him end up getting delivered in the back seat of a police car or in the ambulance on the way to the hospital or whatever? When that baby says it's time, it's time. Yeah. Well, the other thing, John, is you know they make a big deal out of it, but if you don't know what you're doing with that, you don't have to cut the umbilical cord when that kid's first born. You can leave it attached until mother and baby get to the hospital and let them do it. It's not a rush that has to be done immediately. Yeah, most of what the family I got left in Kansas now is cousins. My aunts and uncles have gotten old enough. Most of them have passed away. My grandparents are gone. I've got an uncle that just had a birthday here a couple weeks ago, and let's see, he was 87, I think. And I got an aunt that was just had a birthday, and she was younger than him, but still in her 80s. Well, I don't like any big cities, period. But it's just, I had two uncles that lived out there in their family, so I used to go visit them. I've still got a few cousins that live in Wichita. One of my uncles who used to live in Wichita moved south of there down 35 to Belle Plaine, which is a little bitty small town. I haven't hunted since I've been in Florida. When I lived in New York, which is where I grew up at, I used to hunt and fish all the time up there. But I haven't in Florida. Um, Hunting down here is just not the same because the underbrush and everything is so thick you can't hardly get through it. And I don't go with the idea that they use down here with, like, when they hunt deer, they use dogs to chase them. In New York, if you caught a dog chasing a deer, you shot the dog. I used to be with the fire department here years back, um, volunteer, and I ran ambulance a lot for that too. You run into all kinds of stuff that way. Sometimes it's stupidity, but yeah, I've been on 81 just to go from Wichita to Belle Plaine to avoid the tolls. When I was doing auto transport, I went ahead and stayed on 35 just because it was simpler and quicker. John, when you say he was eaten, was he consumed that way, you mean, or just bit? We get a lot of shark bites off the coast here at Daytona. 'Yeah, now they got that big casino out there just off of 35 there by Belle Plaine. Well, there's just a few body parts left in the water. The turtles and whatnot will clean those up. 4.5 meters, around 15 feet. Now, that's something I've never seen, Josh. I couldn't tell you that. But I know they're on 35 right there when you get off for Belle Plaine. They got the big traffic circles and all that now, the roundabouts, or you want to call it, whatever. And there's a big casino and stuff there now that didn't used to be there when I was going out there, as a kid to visit my relatives. Yeah, they've been pushing trying to get gambling into Florida now too. I don't know if it'll ever go through or not. As big as they are, I'd be surprised there was much of any bones left to spit out. Yeah, because even if the attack didn't kill you, a lot of times the shock will. You know, that's true. See, I forget the names of a lot of that stuff until somebody mentions them. But a lot of the stuff too, see, with me being on the road with that I depended a lot on my GPS, so didn't pay attention a lot of times to the names of the places. Just follow where the GPS told me to go to get where I was heading to. Well, that's something that I've said, in the past when people talk about, having somebody to get rid of or whatever. That's always been a way to get rid of a body if you just raised hogs, because they eat at bones and everything. You think so, Smokums? And I'll bet on the death certificate it still says he died from COVID. They got so carried away with that in the last couple of years. I mean, you could fall out of the tree and die from COVID. Well, I see there in somewhere in the news or whatever that Trudeau was supposed to have had COVID. Uh, the vaccine from getting COVID. They had a U.S. Navy ship here a while back, wasn't too long ago, but it had 130 personnel on it for the complete crew. And they had the ship pulled into Guantanamo Bay, and they were out of service for a while because there were so many of them in the crew. They were 100% vaccinated, but there was enough of them in the crew that had COVID that they had to put into port because they didn't have enough people to run stuff. Well, John, that's what they say here off Daytona, New Smyrna Beach, that a lot of the shark bites and stuff here are mistaken identity. If you're out there swimming, when you're in a small school of bait fish or something, they might come up and bite you, thinking they're getting. Now the big sharks, they may turn around and eat a person or whatever, but the average shark or whatever like that, when they bite, it's because they thought it was food, and then when they find out it wasn't, they release. Surfers get bit that way every once in a while. There was a woman there that supposedly got attacked by a bear here recently. But as the story went on in the news, she was out walking her dog somewhere and encountered a mama bear with her cubs. Well, that wasn't, an actual attack. The mama was just protecting her cubs. Well, I've heard different stories there. There's been several people that have died from after getting, the vaccination. Because any vaccination you get that way, what they're doing is they're giving you a mild dose of that disease. Well, if your body can't handle it, you know, that's what happens. And that's why, I say don't get it, and I haven't gotten the vaccination. One, they rushed it too much making this, you know, when they made their, the vaccines and stuff like for polio or anything else, they spent years doing it. For this one, they just spent a few months and threw it out there and said, there we go, let's do this. See, I'm not. I never did get it, John. But what you're saying there about the sharks, John, we have that same problem here with alligators. Every once in a while, you'll hear one where a gator kills a person or bites them or whatever. You just have to remember when you start going, in the water or wherever, the shark first. Yeah, but John, the science that you're saying there, they haven't got the backing on a lot of what they've done with it. Here, they said that the antibodies for the new Omicron version of it, FDA has said it doesn't work on it, and they've shut down the vaccine sites here in Florida. Yeah, John, I think that's what they've said before there, that I don't know if it's Daytona or New Smyrna Beach, which they're just a few miles away from each other. It's supposed to be the shark bite capital of the world. But a lot of the shark bites and stuff, here is because we have so many tourists here, so they're in the water. And one of the other things that becomes, again, as you said, before, the mistaken identity. People are out there, with shiny jewelry on or whatever that makes it glitter in the water. Well, it's the same thing as your fishing lures that, you pay big bucks for to go fishing, with like that. Well, the jewelry's doing the same thing and drawing the fish to that. Yeah, they've had to do that here too with the kids in school because somebody will come up and have COVID or whatever, so they send the whole class home or what have you. Well, that's something I've never dealt with, John, because I don't. Same thing with the gators. I'm not in the water there. I mean, girl I used to work for, there's some that had a piece of property with horses and stuff on it. She called me up one time. She had an outside shower at her house. Called me up all frantic. Had an alligator in her shower. I went down there and it was only 2 to 3 feet long, small one. So I just caught it, put it in the back of the truck, and took it down the road a ways to where there was a pond and turned it loose there. Well, the only thing in those smoke them, I mean, that's one way of looking at it. But like here in Florida, the alligators and bears both are protected. Now they have in last years and stuff like that started having a bear season and an alligator season to help cut the numbers down because the population has gotten up so much. But for a lot of years, there was no hunting of either one of them at any time, and you had to be careful. I mean, even like an alligator, if you went out there and hit it with your car on the road, you can get in trouble for it. And we have a lot of bears in the neighborhood that come through here all the time, but part of it's because people putting their trash out and stuff, which basically they're feeding them. I don't set my trash cans at my big trash can outside has nothing in it food wise until Monday morning on trash day. With just me, I don't have a lot of stuff anyways, but if I have chicken bones or pork chop bones or whatever, I put them in a plastic bag, a bread bag, or like the Walmart bags or whatever. Just wrap them up, stick them in the freezer. Monday morning, I get them out, throw them in the trash can, and put the trash out. Now, I got woke up last night, maybe 1:30 or something like that. It was scared the hell out of me when I heard it. But then I heard a big bang. It was a neighbor across the road. Their recycle tote over there got knocked over, and all that was in it was beer bottles. And I got up and looked out the window, and there was a big bear walking up the road away from it. I've had shark before at a restaurant, IJ. I didn't care for it. Now I like gator tail. I've had that different times. I like it. But what I've always been told with gator, the thing with it is don't overcook it or it makes it tough. They use coconut milk on a lot of stuff in the Philippines that people here don't use. Well, that's like the guys on a bunch of these fishing channels that they've got here now, where they're up in Virginia and West Virginia and Tennessee and stuff, but they're doing YouTube videos in their different places and they're fishing. And they're fishing for the big catfish and whatever. bait. Well, in New York, where I every spring when the bullheads are running, people are going crazy over out fishing for them. And then even the volunteer fire departments and whatever, they'll have a big bullhead feed to raise money for the fire department. And people will go there and, whatever it costs to get, all you can eat of bullheads. The other one that I used to get a lot when I was at home was one they called smelt, which is a small fish. It looks like a big minnow. I mean, with them, there's no scales or anything on it to take off. You just cut the head off and gut it and then leave it. And when you cook it up, you eat it bones and all because the bones are so small in it. But I used to get those all the time. But how we got them was just when I used to go down in the dock with it there and take a 5-gallon bucket and a dip net and just keep dipping them and dump it in the bucket. Yeah, and the other thing too, IJ, you're looking at there, saying that, you guys are used to the dried fish, which everybody says, really stinks too. So it depends on the individual and what you're used to. Well, Ken, that's kind of the way I am with any food. You know, I tell people I'll eat most anything as long as they don't smell or taste fishy and it's not greasy. Like when you fix chicken, you can make chicken that that's good, it's crispy, whatever. You can make it where when you pick it up, the damn grease is dripping off of it. I don't like greasy food. I like salmon. Haven't had any other than canned salmon in a long time. When I lived in New York, they had stocked the river right there by where we lived at with salmon there for several years. So people were getting it, and then when they would smoke it and bake it or whatever. The only tuna I've ever had is, you know, canned tuna like you buy at Walmart or whatever. One of the other things that I don't eat a lot of either is steak. I always used to, but I just kind of got where one, it got expensive, compared to chicken and pork and whatever. I just, don't buy it hardly ever. Yeah, Josh, I even take when I fix rice, I fix up a big pot of it like the girls in the Philippines are doing. I'll fix up a big pot of rice and then I'll take just before it's about done, I'll open the tuna and dump it in and stir it in just so it heats the tuna up, with the rice. What I prefer though instead of tuna is chicken because you can buy the canned chicken the same way. I'm not as crazy about tuna being heated. tuna fish sandwich is always good. I like a good steak, John. And just like I say, I kind of having it because the price of beef got so high. And if you don't pay attention when you're cooking it, cook it a little too much, then it gets tough, makes it harder to eat. Which chicken or pork doesn't get as tough when you kind of overcook it a little. Well, IJ, I don't know about being a vegetarian. I like my meats too. I'm not saying I can't live without them. I got a jar of mayonnaise here recently that didn't pay attention when I got it, but it's vegetarian mayonnaise. Now, how much meat is there normally in mayonnaise? And whatever they did to it, to me, don't taste near as good as normal mayonnaise. So whatever the difference is. And when you get down to it, as far as eating meat, there's a lot of stuff we eat that's actually junk meat, like hot dogs and bologna. A lot of that, that's in a hot dog or in bologna is the stuff they've cut off of the steaks and whatever that should be thrown away, but they package it up and we eat it. Well, John, if more people did that, it would make it easier on themselves because everything you buy in the store has gotten so expensive. And in most countries like the US, most everything you buy in the store has got so many preservatives and additives and whatever in it that it's not healthy to eat it anyway. Ken, is Mike on the road tonight or is he at home? Yeah, and that's the thing too, Ken, with beef, you know, like you say, medium rare or whatever, because if you cook it up too much, then it starts getting tough. If it's still just a bit pink in it, makes a whole lot better tasting piece of meat. Have you ever tried emu? You would have easy access to it there, John. That's where they're from, is Australia. I used to raise emus for a while when they first came out big over here and thought I was going to make some money at it, but Florida screwed up and just never got any slaughterhouses to handle the emus. So the market wasn't good on them. You had to ship them to Georgia someplace to be slaughtered if you're going to sell it. I ended up selling all of mine and got away from it. But emu meat is really good eating. And it's way lower in fat and cholesterol than even pork. Are you saying that's what the temperature is there now, John? That's pretty warm. 131 Fahrenheit. Emu is a red meat. It's not like chicken or turkey. It's a dark meat, so it's more like beef. Way lower in fat and cholesterol than even chicken. If you grind it up for hamburger, you got to add a little bit of beef hamburger or something to it with some fat to it to make it stick together because there's no fat content enough to stick, and it won't hold together for a hamburger. But it's good eating meat. When I was raising them and was eating some too, I lost weight while I was eating them. Now, I've never had any of those. Something I used to get all the time when I was a kid. Used to go in old uh, farmers' old barns and stuff and shoot them just with a BB gun. Was pigeons. I like those. Yeah, that's what I was saying, IJ. And it's not near as tough if you don't overcook it. And there's a couple of them that do their YouTube videos showing when they're cooking and stuff. And I'm always telling them, turn your fire down. They have it turned up high where stuff's boiling hard as hell, or the grease is splattering everywhere, whatever. Turn the fire down, cook it slower. Plus, you're saving on your propane. But it's just that headset, in the Philippines that you cook it on a high fire. Amor was talking to me here recently about fixing rice on a wood fire. Well, they do a lot of, like that in the dirty kitchens and whatever, but it's just easier to cook on propane because you can control the heat better. That's quite a theory, John. Hang the skin out there and hope you don't shoot you in the process. That's true, Ken. That's why I say cook it on low heat and you don't dry it out so quick that way. But even, your vegetables or anything else, the same thing. And if you're boiling stuff, you don't need it where the pot's jumping up and down where it's boiling. Because if you got bubbles coming up through the liquid, it's boiling. That's as hot as it's going to get. It gets hotter than that, your liquids become steam. I used to go in the other direction of what you're saying. They're not cooking it, too hard that way. When I used to fix chicken on the grill, I used to put a piece of aluminum foil down and curl the edges up to hold the juices. That way it wasn't all going down in my fire. I had a propane grill that wasn't charcoal. And I'd put a leg quarter of chicken on there. It might take an hour to cook it because I kept the fire down so low. But when I got done, it was still nice and juicy and basically, as they say, fall off the bone. We have several states here that are like that, John. Several of those states like that have what they call open carry. So you can carry the weapon exposed, and go to Walmart or whatever. And personally, I think that's a better idea. Here in Florida, you can't open carry, but it isn't hard to get a concealed carry permit. I always tell people, if everybody had a gun, if the good people got off more shots, the bad people wouldn't shoot as much. Or Let me rephrase that. If more good people had guns, the bad guys wouldn't get off as many shots. I guess that's the way I said it. And a prime example of that, they had one here a while back that made the news. Some guy went into a church, don't know what the reason was or whatever, started up the far left side of the church there during service with a gun headed for the preacher. And there was 3 or 4 people in the congregation that all got up, had guns, and they all shot the guy. Nobody said anything about it since, but earlier Monroe was saying there that my sound was going in and out. Is it still doing that, or is it working okay now? Okay. I wasn't sure. Like I said, I forgot about it. When I first started tonight, Monroe said it was in and out. He said he was trying to read my lips. Well, sometimes, John, it depends on what it is because the company's responsible for that idiot, as you say. When my mom passed away, my older sister wanted her car, hadn't had it on the road even a week yet. And she was in town with it there one day and went through an intersection. A guy with a cement truck ran the stop sign and broadsided her, totaled the car. And then they found out afterwards that the guy didn't even have a driver's license. And the company that he worked for said, oh, he didn't know he didn't have a license, and tried to, get her to take money from him and whatever. And I told her, says, take him to court, sue him. My sister says, oh, we're not like that. We can't just sue somebody for like that. I said, yeah, but the thing of it is, it's guys like him that are driving for a company without a license, and the company's not checking it beforehand like they're supposed to. That's causing me money because my insurance rates are higher because of it. We're just good friends, John. We became friends when she was first building her channel on YouTube, and I helped her a lot doing stuff and getting it monetized. Yeah, she's definitely fit. She's not doing it so much now that she's back home because she's busy all day working on the farm. But when she was in Hong Kong, she used to go out every morning and again every night before she went to bed and run. But she's single, has two boys. Her boys are, I think, 17 and 21. Yeah, but she keeps active all the time and she eats good and stuff. So, you know, she'll keep herself in shape. She's real fussy on what she eats. Yeah, you can hear that when they send the message, IJ. But JB is basically vegetarian. She don't eat meat, and she exercises all the time. She's competed in a lot of those ultra marathons. And she's such a small girl too. She's only 4'10". Yeah, that's all the taller she is. No, she says she's 4'10", but Tinkerbell says they're the same height, and Tinkerbell says she's 4'9". So take it from there. JB's 41 years old. Yeah, she is. She's a nice girl. But she sticks up for herself. She won't take any shit from anybody. You think so, IJ? Even when she was in quarantine, because like I said, she goes out and runs every morning and every night. When she was in quarantine and confined to the hotel room, she used to run in the hotel room. She would run from the door to the window, to the door to the window in that room. So it's that, if you ever watch that white watch she wears there, the white wristband, everything on it, it's set up where it tells her, how far she ran and a bunch. I don't know. It's got all kinds of other stuff in it that she uses for when she's running and whatnot. But she'll try to get her distance in running in the hotel room. That's how dedicated she is to her running. And while everything was shut down with COVID, they weren't having the marathons and stuff. So she was just running to keep herself in shape and wishing she could go to them. They had a short marathon here in Orlando, Florida a while back, and I told her about it. She said she wished she could go to it, but not able to travel or whatever. I don't think you'll ever stop that girl from running. If you watched her, maybe her most recent video the other day, she went out and ran, and I don't remember what the kilometers was on it now, but it was like about 12 miles. So however that converts back to, she did it in like an hour and 10 minutes or whatever she said. But she ran the road. I think it was her sister was on a bicycle riding beside her, and then her brother or whoever was on a motorbike behind her with the video camera. But when she was working in Hong Kong, she'd go out every morning and every night and run the streets there in town, run down along the river and stuff. I mean, on the sidewalk areas, but she was still running. And on the weekend when she was off, she would go sometimes alone, sometimes with some of the other girls, and run up in the mountains. One of them there, she did a video on it, went to the top of one of the mountains there, spent the night up there in a tent so she could be there to see the sunrise in the morning. Spent the night up there on the top of the mountain by herself. and it was cold. The wind was blowing and it was cold, and she was all bundled up like an Eskimo in that little tent overnight. Part of her videos there now, when they're going down to the other part of the farm there to when they're planting rice. She was even running on the trail going to the other part of the farm. Well, that's what I say, John. She takes care of herself. She don't take any shit from anybody. And the stuff she does, she ends up, making good money in the process. Maybe not good money by, say, Australian or U.S. standards, but makes good money Philippine standards. Yeah, even while she was in Hong Kong, she was doing besides her job there, taking care of them two kids. But with the money, she made and accumulated, whatever, that's how she's doing all the stuff like she is right now on the farm. They're building that, like the new building there for the ducks and chickens and whatever. And that's true, Ken. And she's not going to turn around and, well, I knew what you meant, IJ. Unless somebody tell you, well, you can't do that, because if it's something that she thinks she wants to do, she's going to go ahead and accomplish it. No, what I meant there, John, when I was saying, by U.S. or Australian standard, which is like IJ just said, income. Because a lot of these girls that work as an OFW, the money they get paid for a month usually doesn't even balance out to what we can make in a week. But that money they make as an OFW in a month is way more than what they would make if they were home. Yeah, taking care of stuff like that, rice paddies, all that there, that's a lot of work. That's true, John. That's one of the things a lot of them don't understand. They start talking to the girls in the Philippines, and somebody will tell them, the money we make, and they think we're rich. Well, the money we make compared to the money they make, yeah, we're rich in that aspect. But what they pay for a loaf of bread compared to what we pay for a loaf of bread or whatever, you know, our stuff here is is priced according to what we make for wages. So we're really not any further ahead than what they are, other than in this country that everybody can't work. They don't have the jobs in the Philippines. Maybe we have them here, but the people are lazy and don't want to work. Yeah, that's what I mean, IJ. And here that's a week's wages, and depending on the job, even less. That videos I did the other day there on the new double wide, and I showed the well in the corner and said, that outfit they just put that in that afternoon. I was talking to one of the guys with the crew. They had a young kid working with him, hadn't been there too long, but he was saying, what a good worker he was. Said he's never late for work, he never misses a day, and when you tell him something, he pays attention and can go and do it for whatever. And you don't have to explain it to him 10 times. He makes $125 a day. In the Philippines, they aren't even making that, a month. I never rode in a taxi but one time in the Philippines, and that was from the Davao airport into town. I don't know what the cab fare was that day now, a time ago, but I hadn't got any money exchanged yet. And the girl I was with talked to the cab driver, and all I had on me, that other than big bills, was four US $1 bills. He accepted them four $1 bills for the cab fare from the airport into the city. He may have made money off me that day for whatever the rates and stuff were, but $4 was still cheap to me for a cab ride. I used to get confused all the time on buying stuff because somebody would tell me a price, which naturally is in pesos, and then I would think that sounded too high without realizing or not stopping to think that, well, convert that to dollars, it's not very much. Well, that's like a lot of the kids today. They turn around and they don't want to work unless somebody will pay them $10 an hour, which our minimum wage has gotten up around that anyways. But I tell them, says, heck, back when I first started working, our minimum wage was nothing. But when I worked, the money I got and with what prices were then, I still had everything I needed. the little Christmas tree air fresheners that you can get to hang in your car or whatever. I worked in a plant in Watertown, New York, where they make those years back. Minimum wage back then was $1.90 an hour. I was working night shifts. I got paid the night shift premium. I got paid $2.10 an hour. And I thought I was making good money. $7 is something here. Each state has their own state wage, which most all of them are higher than federal. Florida was only $8 and something until recently. And then a bunch of people turned around and it got put on the ballot and they voted to raise it to $15 an hour. It went to $10 an hour this year. Then each year it goes up $1 until it gets up to 15. And I told people, hey, Raina, I told people that's stupid. Oh yeah, but we should be making $15 an hour. I says, great. But at $15 an hour, there's not going to be no $2 menu at McDonald's anymore. It's going to be a $10 menu. So what did you gain? I said, and the other thing, if you're making $15 an hour, what about the people that are on food stamp, or not food stamp, but Social Security and stuff like that, where there's a set? They're going to be hurting. Or the person that's not working. You're making $15 an hour and this guy don't have a job. So the $20 he's got in his pocket now isn't going to buy as much as it used to because you got the prices raised and everything, so you can make your $15 an hour. Yeah, I've done that before too, John. But like I say, it gets to the point that if everybody's making, they raise the minimum wages and stuff, and everybody's making big money, well, they just raise the cost of everything to compensate for the employees. So you really, in the long run, don't gain it. It's like when I worked in corrections, which is a government job. We always got the cost of living raise every year. And they turn around and tell us, well, your cost of living raise this year is 1.5%. Cost of living went up 3%, but they give us a cost of living raise of 1.5%. So we only got half of what the cost of living went up. And then they take taxes out of that, so we don't even get the 1.5%. We were just going farther in the hole all the time. Hey, Mike. I was wondering where you guys were at. Ken's been here quite a while. Had quite a few people in and out tonight. Some of them didn't stay too long. There's been a lot of people came. Ken, what's she need new luggage for if she's going to stay in Baguio? You trying to stir up trouble, IJ? You still spelled it wrong, Rena. But we know what you mean. Supposed to just tie your stuff all up in a cloth sack and hang it on a pole like Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn used to do. Well, it's a good thing you two guys are keeping Western Union in business. I heard that for a while there they were talking they might go bankrupt. You know, Mike, Rena's probably got her set up where she don't even have to go down and get it anymore. Western Union just puts it in her bank. I said, oh, it's for her again. Yeah, you're going to need a second jeepney to take everything to the airport. I'm not sure if that's good or bad, Mike. Maybe he knows her name because he thinks she's an outlaw. I can hear a rooster crowing. One of my neighbors has a rooster, and it's crowing now. Mike, here it is, 11:30 this evening. 71 here tonight. A few nights ago, it was in the 30s. Tonight it's still 71 at 11:30. It's nice here. A few days from now, it's supposed to be back down in the 50s again at night. They were saying 40s, but tonight they're saying 50. That's true, John. One of the big things that makes you stand out is just being taller. IJ, you don't think you look a little strange that way? Well, John, the girls are already talking. I did that video the other day there. Well, there's 4 of them of the new mobile home getting a double wide getting moved in just a little ways from me. And there was already 3 of them asking about being there. Some more asked me the other day if she could ride in it while they were moving it. Yeah, Mike, the weather here is a lot like the Philippines. It don't get quite as hot in the summer, and it does get cooler in the winter, but it's still a lot like the Philippines. If you stay in the southern half of the state, you don't have to worry about the snow. The northern part of the state might get a little bit way up in the panhandle or something, but not enough to say so. Well, that's good, Mike. I don't want her near me either. We don't get along most of the time. We fight and argue. But but she did ask if she could move in that double wide the other day, and I told her she'd have to talk to Maureen because Maureen had already moved in. Yeah, Rena's afraid of my cats. Yeah, but IJ, Rena don't like cats. She says they attack her. She had one attack her there the other day. Hey, Mike, I can help you out there with Rena. I'll just keep pointing out to her Disney's down here in Florida. You could take her to Disney all the time at $100 and some a day. IJ, you mean carry a broom or ride it? Yeah, Mike, the humidity right now here is 91%. reading them labels and don't worry about them because they don't mean anything. That's just stuff they put on there to make you buy more. Yeah, I've never been to Disney. I don't know for sure what it is. I just know it's high. Mike, are you gonna try to get Rena in as a child just because she's small? Yeah, the Disney attractions all raised their prices this past year again. Let me see what it says on here. Walt Disney World ticket in 2021 is between $109 and $159 per day. Yeah, I don't miss that at all, Mike. Them plowing the snow. Same as having to shovel the driveway every time you went to work or when you got home from work. Yeah, but Mike, she might not be tall enough to get on some of the rides. The sign up there says you have to be this tall to ride. She may not be tall. Yeah, and here where I'm at, there are 6 hospitals, all within less than 40 miles from here. Yeah, that's true, Mike. I mean, you get discount if you buy tickets for multiple days, but if you took and went and paid for just one day, that was I just googled it and it says it's between 109 and 159. So I guess that depends on what park you go to or whatever. Randy, you just have to take and do with Mike like I've done with mine. See, I've already paid for my cremations when the day comes, that I'm gone. My cremation's already paid for. I also have travel insurance on it, so if I'm in the Philippines even, they'll ship me home. Already paid for. And I paid for my cremation back in uh, 2001, I think. Well, that's one of the other things here, Mike. We don't have too many hills in Florida. Florida's fairly flat. I mean, there are a few hills here and there, yes, but it's fairly flat. Yeah, the medical stuff in the Philippines is definitely different than here. You just have to kind of look at things and what you are health wise as far as what you require. Yeah, and if you go to the hospital here and it's some kind of an emergency, if you don't have money to pay for it, because a lot of times they want you to pay for it up front. But if you don't have money to pay for it and it's an emergency, by law they still have to treat you, even if you don't have the money. One too. A lot of your places, for jobs, especially like trucking and stuff, they won't hire you unless you have experience. Well, how do you ever get experience if somebody doesn't hire you? I didn't watch Rena's video yet about you guys getting your tickets, so I don't know what it's all covered. When's your departure dates? Since I have 8 people in here, but there's only 5 talking. Oh yeah, and even the drivers that are getting hired, the schools and stuff aren't teaching them like they should be. They're hitting the roads with so little experience. There's a guy and his girlfriend. They're up here in Georgia. They used to run Hot Shot and decided they wanted to go semi. So they went and bought a tractor, bought a step deck trailer. He came to Florida to some trucking school down here. I don't know which one, to get his Class A for driving a semi. And then after he got his truck and trailer there, had him at the house because he had the trailer delivered because it was in South Florida someplace. Another driver that's a YouTuber that lives in South Florida brought it up and dropped it at his house. He did a video one day. He was going out to hook up the truck and trailer together and move it, and said he didn't even know how to hook it to the trailer. They'd never done that in the school he went to. Yeah, but John, you do have some couples over there that are doing good in the Philippines. Frank and Ruby down in Mindanao, been together for a while. They're doing good. The Rileys are doing good. Mike Cason was there for quite a long time until he passed away. Chris Wren from the UK has been there quite a while with Mel, and they've got 2 kids now. A lot of that kind of goes to an individual basis. Well, that is very possible, Mike. I mean, you hear the rumors, so you don't know what's true or what somebody's just speculating. They said that he didn't get the care he needed, but he'd been having heart problems for quite a while. Been in and out of the hospital different times. But he was very limited on money, I know a couple of times there when he was in the hospital, he'd even made requests or whatever you want to say on his YouTube channel for help. You know, people donated money to help him pay the bills. Yeah, Ken, I agree with what you're saying, but like I said, he was hurting on money. He didn't have the money to go back home. He didn't have a place to go back home to. He gave up everything here when he moved over there, and even his family. He said he didn't really have any attachment with them anymore. Hey, Marine. Okay, everybody, we got to quit talking about Marine. She's here now. Well, that's a possibility, Mike. Um, I asked my insurance agent about that with my Medicare supplemental insurance I have. She said it will cover me in the Philippines. The only thing is, I have to pay cash for it first, and then submit the bill to my insurance company, and then they would pay it. You know, so you have to have money available to cover the hospital over there. But they were talking there about with Mike Cason that even the day that when they took him to the hospital, they had him out there on the gurney at the ambulance. Took him forever just to get an IV hooked up to him. So you know some of that fall back to inexperience in the medical treatment over there, or at least the transportation end of it. You know, insurance companies, if you're dealing directly with them, they are high, Mike. Um, you've got a few years to go. You have Medicare, which then you get the Medicare supplemental insurance, and most of them you don't even pay for. Um, Medicare takes $144 a month out of your Social Security. Your supplemental insurance, depending on your situation, can put part or all of that back into your check. I don't get all of mine back just because of my financial situation, what I own and stuff. My neighbor across the road, who has not the couple I talked about, but there's another one beside them, has next to nothing. He gets all of his back. But with his low financial situation, he also then is eligible for Medicaid, and then that further covers stuff for him. He don't have any co-pays or anything on his medical stuff like that. Where I have, like when I go to a specialist, I have to pay a $20 copay. If I go to the emergency room, I pay a $200 copay. John, I always only need to learn 2 sentences to go to the Philippines. One is when do we eat, and the other one's where's the bathroom. You don't need to know any of the rest of it. Yeah, IJ, sometimes the sentences, they don't have the punctuation in there, can mislead you. John, Ken wants to go over to help Maureen take care of her pet crab. She has a pet crab and a pet lizard at her house. Yeah, she's got a big pet crab at her house and a big pet lizard. Ken's going over to help her take care of them. They don't need puppies. Yeah, I imagine. I thought she would have brought the crab with her to Rena's. When Ken gets there, they'll both be in the pot. The crab, the lizard, and the rooster will all be in the pot for supper. you at tonight, Mike? Are you home or on the road? Be right back. I gotta go find out what's going on with the kitties. Sound like I got a couple of them out there fighting or something. No, Irene, I said I went out to check on the cat. I've got some stray ones that keep coming around and bothering me. My big male got into it, one of them earlier tonight out here in the yard, and finally chased it out. But when I went out then, it was back again. He comes over here and eats their food and then wants to fight with mine and whatnot. I'm going to end up shooting a couple of them. I've had that problem in the past with possums and raccoons. And okay, IJ, I'll talk with you tomorrow. But I had, like I said, I had problems before with some possums and raccoons bothering my animals and getting their food and whatnot like that. And I've killed a few of them. If I need to do the same thing with the stray cats that are coming around, I'll do that too. Everybody says, we'll put out pet trap, and catch them, get rid of them that way. Well, the only problem is putting, a pet trap out to catch a wild cat or a stray cat, then mine want to win it. Yeah, I used to have dogs and cats both before, John, when I was at my old house. And they had, slowly one by one passed away and stuff from age, whatever. And my last cat that I had, the one that used to ride in the truck with me when I was on the road, I had him put down. He was 12 and a half years old, but he had, heart problems and thyroid problems and a bunch of other stuff. I don't know. I was spending a lot of money on him at the vets every time I turn around. And when I had him put down, I said, well, I'm not going to get any more because they tie me down as far as, me going to the Philippines or just traveling here in the U.S. to go to my sisters or whatever. But then I've turned around and taken in some more, which they've had little ones. So now I've got 14 cats again. I wish I don't have any of them, but I don't want anything to happen to them. So there I am. Catch you later, Ken. I think I'm going to go ahead and end this too. I've been over 3 hours on it. I didn't intend to stay that long tonight, but everybody was having a good time, so I don't mind staying. And I will catch all of you again on the next one or on yours, whatever. Everybody have a good day, good night, and take care.